Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. I apologise for the way I appear. I am actually very tired. I haven't slept for over 30 hours. So, yeah, take that as it will, as you will. But, let's talk about Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. Now, is there anything good about them? That's a good question. I'll answer that question. No, there isn't. So I end the video there. Is there anything good? No. Anything bad? Yeah. What is bad about it? Everything. Everything. Everything is bad. The story is terrible. The plot, terrible. You know, everything just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Um, but people are going to love it. Absolutely love it because they're going to get a paycheck to click on a star on IMDb and stuff like that. So that's good for them. Good for them. Happy for them. But these are my, just to let you know, these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. Okay, I am not forcing them on anyone. It is entirely up to them whether if whether anyone is like-minded or not. Basically, just saying. But yeah, it's just continuing the narrative of where they're pushing Chapel and Spock's relationship, and it literally breaks canon um, in many ways. Um, yes, she was supposed to leave the ship. She does leave the ship. She comes back with a new boyfriend, essentially, um, for season two, for episode two. Sorry, but for episode one, it's all despite the fact they got all the stuff with the Gorn happening around them. They seem to still be pushing the relationship between Spock and Chapel. Spock couldn't wait to go to sick bay and help her out with a patient, and Chapel couldn't wait to accept him for just being there, essentially, which is terrible. It's terrible writing. The usual stuff that we've been seeing these days, to be honest. Um, what else happened? Um, well, Lorne managed to break out of a pod and ended up freezing for a little while when she realised that she was stuck on a Gorn ship. Then she came round and she decided to rescue other crew members, including Sam Kirk, who was there. Um, what else? Hmm. It turns out that the Gorn don't like taking weapons away from their prey because they managed to find enough rifles and phase pistols for each one of the people that are pulled out. Um, yeah. Instead of killing the Gorn babies that are in Pike's girlfriend's back, instead of killing the babies, they decide to feed them to take away the violence of their birth, so that when they do finally get born, they're not as violent as they are normally because they will be well fed despite not being born yet. Odd way of looking at things. She even puts altered blood, even does an altered DNA blood transfusion to try and save her, and it doesn't quite work. But feeding the babies before they're born, that seemed to work because they can't have anyone killing babies now. Not with the way that people are looking at abortion these days. So what, you're going to kill the babies when you cut them out? So yeah, it's not. You can't do that. It's not right. You know, you can't have people in wheelchairs be evil because it will be the false representation that all people that are disabled in wheelchairs are evil. So we can't. So we couldn't have Davros in Doctor Who in a wheelchair because you can't have wheelchairs make people evil. So yeah, we can't have babies killed, despite the fact that you know they're going to kill her when they give birth, when they get born. What else is there? Let's see. Like I said, these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. I am very tired. I haven't slept in over 30 hours. Just a reminder. Let's see what else. We have. Let me think. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. Right. Okay. So I'm going to move on to episode. Well, no. Wait. Hold on. Like, so instead of winning by killing the Gorn and rescuing the people, they decide that they're going to pretend to be a coronal mass injection. No, I'm not kidding. By turning the ship into essentially what the Gorn are going to believe is a solar flare of some sort, because the solar cycle of the sun or the stars, the binary stars in their system, um, causes them to go into a forced hibernation as a result. So the reason we don't see the Gorn very often in Star Trek is because they're asleep most of the time. Sure, they are. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're sectors away from Federation space, and technically, in Strange New Worlds, they would have been whispers. They would have been heard of. The name would be recognizable, but you wouldn't be able to identify the Gorn because no one will have seen a Gorn at that point, because no one has seen a Gorn up to the point where Kirk fights that Gorn, making explosives with black powder that he just make that Kirk makes and finds by bamboo that's makes a perfect explosive device. I'm just saying. I'm remembering that that's how it works. No one has even knows what a Gorn looks like until Kirk physically fights one on that planet. What was it called? I can't remember what that episode that was. Now, I'm gonna have to go back and watch Star Trek. I really am. Um, hmm. Anything else of it for episode one? No, I don't think so. Um, it's just the usual. They push into the relationship. That and oh my God, Scotty, so annoying. He's nothing like the Scotty that we know, right? His accent is a lot deep, a lot worse. Is and uh, I'd be surprised if that was that guy's true fucking accent. I don't think it is. I don't think it is because he sounds nothing like Spock. That's Spock, Scotty. Sorry, I said Spock. Why did I say Spock? Because the show is all about Spock. That's why. That is exactly why. Um, yeah. Right. Anything else for episode one? No, I don't think there is anything else for episode one. All right, so we're going to move on to episode two. So it's been 3 months, and the Enterprise is outside the starbase, having hull plating replaced. And Spock has a voiceover where he says that the scars from the recent battle have been repaired. Yet right there on screen, they're replacing panels, damaged panels. They're removing a damaged one and they're putting a new panel onto the Enterprise. But so whilst he's speaking over it, saying they have they have repaired it when they're still actually repairing it. So even the episodes don't know what they're doing when it comes to a voiceover. We see several ships. Yeah, we get some ship porn. Yes, that's good. That's it. That's true. We do get some ship porn, different types of ships. and different numbered nacelles, different designs. And we also find out that Spock has made sure that he gets notified. Right? He's a lieutenant at that point, isn't he? He's a lieutenant, and he's making sure that he gets notified of when Chapel requests to come aboard. So not gets notified when she is aboard, but before she beams aboard. Right. But there's a annoyingly, Lawn, I can't pronounce her name. I'm just too tired. Sorry, guys. Decide, she's been teaching Spock how to dance, which is going to happen at the end. So we get a little bit of we get more dance. We got more dancing, basically. Thankfully, no singing yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, we're going to we get quite a bit of rubbish, boring stuff happen in this episode. And we get a visit from some guy that's a bartender. He's a bartender, so he's behind a bar. And he ends up because Spock is standing at a table where Chapel, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Is there, and and the other crew members, they're talking to her and they're asking her about her necklace, her bracelet, her new bracelet, and how beautiful it is, and blah blah blah. And considering her hair has grown quite a bit in 3 months, I tell you, it's got to have grown at least like that much. What, about 6 inches, 7 inches in 3 months? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's no longer white. It's blonde hair now, not white. So it's not dyed. Which kind of suggests to me that the first episode was filmed immediately at the same time after filming the final episode of last season. Because obviously it's been a year, so the hair growth would be very, very close to that for when they were filming season 3. So yeah, interesting the way that they did that. But yeah, it's so Spock is feeling sorry for himself, and he ends up going to the bar, and the bartender is there, and he ends up saying stuff, and yeah, he gets Spock to make a wish. So he makes a wish, and when he makes a wish, he ends up waking up with Chapel next to him. And a big spoiler alert, it's a Q. Spoiler, it's a Q. Well, wrong button. Not QQ, AQ, because obviously they're all Q in the Q continuum. Yeah. So we get AQ messing with them, gets Spock to make a wish, and then Chapel wakes up next to Spock in bed. And they're engaged and about to get married. And the whole plot is that, at a certain point he remembers, he's known the whole time, obviously, but the other guy has known the whole time as well. So Spock is trying to continue this new existence where he has Chapel, like a narcissist, possessive, not wanting to let go, can't do any wrong, and can basically talk himself and everyone out of anything. But at the same time, we have Q running interference every time this guy comes close to him. And then Spock gets hit in the face and ends up coming around, um, coming to his senses and realizing, hey, wait, what I'm doing is wrong. No expression changes to represent that he's thinking differently now. No, nothing different. No expression, nothing. And yeah, so he ends up starting to go against everything and wanting to correct the mistake because he realized he made a mistake when he wished it. And the guy took advantage of his situation to have fun basically because he was a Q and Qs will get bored easily and come down and mess with us corporeal beings, right? Especially humans. And yeah, so we have all that happen. And it's not until the end when they decide that you know, somehow Chapel needed to understand that you know it shouldn't be happening this way. They shouldn't be getting married, and somehow something he says to her clicks her out of it, and she realizes it, despite the fact that her partner, her real boyfriend, has been turned into a dog. But yeah, he's it's just ridiculous that that they wrote this and actually made it into a show, into the series. It's absolutely ridiculous idea. I don't know how it got through, how it got accepted. It's absolutely it's terrible. But yeah, and then we have dancing at the end of it to celebrate, but not before Q comes along and takes his son away, and his son apologizes. So Q's son apologizes for everything, but doesn't change it back. Just leaves it. Lets everyone, he clicks his fingers and everyone's mind is clear. Everyone knows the truth. But he could have just clicked his fingers and taken it back to the point where Spock made the wish, but he didn't. He let it happen. He let them have the memories. You know that's happened. Know what happened. Then Pike gives a speech because it's Federation Day. Um, and That's it. Basically, they have a dance. Spock ends up dancing with La'an. I don't even think they pronounce it properly on the show, to be honest, because I'm sure they said Lawn, but I thought it was La'an, not Lawn. La'an. You go emphasize the La'an. But anyway, it's besides the point, right? So yeah, and you know, so um, I will bring up the name for that episode. That if I can. Yeah, Wedding Bell Blues. It has Q in it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Right, so we have. I think the Q bartender. I think he was Trelane. Was he Trelane? I can't remember. I think his name was Trelane. It's not very memorable. Um, Let me just check this because it's not going to be any good if I'm wrong, right? So I'm just checking this. I'm going to double check. Um, let me just check. Yep. It is. It's Trelane. So Trelane, played by Reese Darby, is a Q, and another Q comes to take him away, and that Q just happens to be John Delancey. So it has John Delancey's voice. Fair enough. Fan service much? Now they could have taken this opportunity to have Delancey visually on the show and then go, something's not right here. All of a sudden, TOS aesthetic. Just saying. All of a sudden, everything's the way it should be in like TOS. Uniforms are the proper uniforms, like they should be, because they don't have those uniforms until after the first few episodes of TOS. So after Kirk's, they got their in Stranger Worlds, they are wearing uniforms that do not exist until after Kirk takes command of the Enterprise. So tell me it's not canon or law breaking. Go on, dare. Because even the uniforms are part of law and canon. That's why people hated the Discovery uniforms. Right? Because they don't look right. Because they wanted the Discovery uniforms. They wanted to look a lot like I think it was the Franklin uniforms from Star Trek Beyond, wasn't it? Or was it Into Darkness? No, it's Beyond, wasn't it? Which was terrible anyway, and they should not have linked it to the JJ movies, to be honest, because they were terrible as Star Trek. Quick reminder: I have been awake for 30 hours or more. So, um, so yeah. So there are other issues. I mean, I'm going to go back to episode 1 because Lieutenant Erica, or Dagus, has 2 fingers eaten away, basically, and she still manages to fly despite having the Gorn's claws and hand inside her belly. She still manages to fly a Gorn ship, which has no visual aids to let you know where you're going, and she still manages to fly around inside the Gorn destroyer. Uhura was okay. Didn't get much from her. I don't like Mbenga. Well, not this version of Mbenga. I don't like this version of Scott. Cillian O'Sullivan, who played Dr. Roderick Corby, which was Chapel's love interest, new boyfriend in episode 2. Sorry. Captain Patel is Pike's girlfriend, right? And she was in this, and they made a point of having Pike say, "What shopping for a new ship," because she's been offered any ship she wants. All she has to do is ask, and she can have any ship she wants. Because she had Gorn babies implanted, and it's not her fault, right? Yeah. And we've got Chris Myers who appeared in it for a little while as a new ensign or nurse. He was Chapel's replacement, and apparently, he's going to be hanging around for a while from the looks of it. But he's only credited for 1 episode so far on IMDb. I'm looking at IMDb. Okay, this is not scripted. I'm just looking at IMDb. And if you don't believe me, let me show you. Okay, here we go. Present. Window capture. Select. Done. It's not showing. Okay. Oh, maybe if I go like this. There we go. Boom. There we go. There we go. See, IMDb. That's what I'm looking at. Cast list for this is for episode 2, Wedding Bell Blues. So yeah. So there we go. Let's see, John Delancey, um, Rhys Darby is Trelane, who was apparently Q's son because he literally calls John Delancey's Q father. Mm. But they missed an opportunity. They could have made so many. They could have corrected so many mistakes by having him click his finger, having Q click his fingers. Just like in season 2, they could have when Lorne went back in time. They could have had things changed to be normal, the way it should be for when she went back into the future. When she went back to the future, because bear in mind she was already in a different timeline when she went back. So yeah, yeah. Uh, hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got, and I don't like it. I really didn't like it. The stories are terrible. It's boring as hell. And this video has gone on longer than I expected. I'm sorry if it's not a usual because I am tired. I've been up for a long time and I just wanted to get a video out on Star Trek because I haven't for a while, and I think you deserve it. So I apologise for how this sounded or if I've upset anyone because it's the last thing I want to do is upset anyone. But if you enjoyed this video and stayed until the end, please do hit that like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, stay safe. May the Schwartz be with you always.